Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Xia Chengxiu hastily said, "That's not what I meant. If we know ourselves and our enemies, we can avoid losing battles. I know you have an unfathomable cultivation base, old senior, and that it far surpasses the two sirs, but we mustn't underestimate the ninth temple as well." Zhou stroked his beard and nodded. He looked at Xia Chengxiu and said, "Let's hear it." Xia Chengxiu nodded and said, "The ninth temple is in Jian'an circuit. It's the only major sect that has dominion over one location. The minor sects in Jian'an circuit submit to the ninth temple. There are 9 main halls, and each main hall spans 1,000 feet. They're the Skyward Hall, the Crepe Myrtle Hall, the Eastern Plain Hall, the Supreme Harmony Hall, the Peace Hall, the Truce Hall, the Unending Hall, the Prisoner Dragon Hall, and the Mystery Hall. When the ninth temple was at its peak, all 9 of its first seats were an elite in their own right. Then, when it waned, the first 4 first seats passed away, leaving 4 vacant spots. Even so, the remaining 5 first seats kept the ninth temple standing to this day." Little Yuan counted her fingers and said, "That's amazing. We only have 4 pavilions in the Evil Sky Pavilion. That's too few." Xia Chengxiu nodded and said, "They're indeed amazing. The Thousand Willow Monastery is like a mantis compared to the tree that is the ninth temple." Zhou asked in confusion, "They passed away? People in the Red Lotus domain die from old age as well?" Xia Chengxiu replied awkwardly, "This is normal in the course of life. In the Red Lotus domain, even the greatest cultivator could not overcome the great limit of 3,000 years. Something stirred in Zhou. Is this the same great limit the Golden Lotus domain has? If that's the case, will the Golden Lotus domain face the same great limit in the future as well? Even so, the Red Lotus domain is far too advanced compared to the Golden Lotus domain. In the end, he said honestly, I thought the Red Lotus cultivators have long lives." Xia Chengxiu was shocked. He wondered inwardly, the old senior doesn't even think much of 3,000 years. Looks like the cultivation advancement in the Golden Lotus domain far surpasses that of the Red Lotus domain. Even his 2 disciples are so powerful. Is the old mister beyond the 10-leaf stage? The madmen at the Sky Marshal Court are known to lie. They said the Golden Lotus wants to invade, but it's clear that it's the Red Lotus domain that's doing the invading. Now that the men they sent had been defeated, the Golden Lotus domain has come for a reckoning. With this thought in mind, he was determined to cling on to this powerful potential backer. Continue. Zhou gestured for Xia Chengxiu to carry on. Apart from the 5 first seats, there are also 18 elders. Every 3 years, a first seat will be selected among the elders to take charge of one hall. Zhu Xian broke through to the 9-leaf stage mid-battle the other day. My guess is he's planning to capture your capable disciple to claim merit and secure his bid for the position of a first seat. As for the cooperation..." Xia Chengxiu shook his head and did not finish his sentence. "Master. We must force our way in. Things don't look good for eldest senior brother." Little Yuan exclaimed anxiously. Conk chimed in as she nodded like a chick pecking grains from the ground, "Ninth senior sister is right. We must force our way in." The elders looked at the 2 young ladies helplessly. Zhou ignored Little Yuan and Conk as he asked, "Who's the master of the ninth temple?" "The king of Jian'an, Sikong Beichen." Little Yuan sounded curious as she said, "He sounds strong. How many leaves does he have?" Sikong Beichen has never shown his strength for many years now. 1,500 years ago, he fought the 8 first seats and won, successfully becoming the new hall master. At that time, he was already a 10-leaf cultivator. 1,000 years ago was the last time he showed his strength. He repelled an army of 300,000 foreign tribesmen. His name became renowned in Great Tang after that, Xia Chengxiu said. Little Yuan. The elders behind Xia Chengxiu sighed. They were all elders, but the other side's elders were elephants while they were just ants. They could not be compared at all. Yu Shangrong frowned slightly. If things were like Xia Chengxiu had said, it meant that his eldest senior brother had entered the lion's den. His eldest senior brother was in danger. Lu Zhou was inwardly shocked by this as well. So, there really is a 10-leaf cultivator in the 9th temple. Is he a mysterious heaven elite? Beyond the 10-leaf stage, the cultivator would have to form a 1,000 realms whirling avatar before entering the mysterious heaven realm. The 1,000 realms whirling avatar was unique to a mysterious heaven elite. Since the 9th temple is so strong, why do they need my disciple for? Isn't it better to kill them immediately? Lu Zhou wondered out loud. Xia Chengxiu was slightly stunned. He said, over the past 500 years, the 9th temple has been declining. 4 of the 9 first seats passed away, leaving 5 who are also in their golden years. Moreover, the Sky Martial Court and the Flying Star House are like the sun at high noon. They're on a meteoric rise, this especially true for the Sky Martial Court. The improvement in their strength over the past 300 years was a sight to behold. The Sky Martial Court. Lu Zhou muttered under his breath, the Sky Martial Court invented the Sky Shuttle. Indeed, they're not to be taken lightly. Tian Buji added, we must begin from that lunatic 300 years ago. Lunatic? More than 3 centuries ago, there was a lunatic in the Sky Martial Court. His name's Luo Xian. This person first came up with the idea of foreign worlds, which was a mad topic at that time. He was shunned and hidden by the Sky Martial Court. Eventually, he went missing. The Sky Shuttle was one of his creations. Lu Zhou thought about Luo Shirin and the notes she left behind. From the handwriting, she did not seem to be someone who had lost her mind. Instead, she was a genius researcher with an adventurous spirit. However, the line between a lunatic and a genius had always been blurry. Nicholas Copernicus, who came up with heliocentrism, was a good example. When his student, Giordano Bruno, published his findings, he was burned at the stake. Therefore, I implore you to not be reckless, old senior. I don't think your capable disciple's life is in danger at this moment. Xia Chengxiu looked at Yu Shangrong. If they wanted to do something, they would have sent their men to look for this disciple of yours as well. The others nodded. Little Yuan pouted before she said, Master, are we going to save eldest senior brother, or not? Yu Shangrong frowned again. Before his master could answer, he calmly said, of course we must save eldest senior brother. If the 9th temple dares to touch a single strand of hair on his head, I'll drench the place in blood. I've always spoken my mind without beating around the bush. Please forgive my bluntness. The 1,000 Willow Monastery elders shook their heads. Something stirred in Xia Chengxiu. He looked at Lu Zhou as he asked tentatively, Old senior, are you confident? He did not know how powerful the old man was. However, based on the old man's disciple's attitude, could the old man be a 10-leaf cultivator? This was also another burning question that was in the minds of the 1,000 Willow Monastery members. After all, if the old man's disciples were so powerful, how could the master be weak? Lu Zhou stroked his beard calmly. He did not answer the question. Instead, he said, I'm tired. Xia Chengxiu, who had begun to feel excited, deflated as soon as he heard Lu Zhou's words. Naturally, he did not let his disappointment show on his face. He ordered, prepare the rooms for our guests. Understood. Tian Buji led the people from the Evil Sky Pavilion out of Fair Hall. Lu Zhou stood up slowly with a straight back. His long robes fell to his feet, and his white hair rested on his shoulders. With his hands on his back, he said in a neutral tone, I'll visit the 9th temple in 5 days. You'll lead the way. After saying this, he turned around and left. Xia Chengxiu was as stunned as a wooden chicken. The elders were similarly stunned as they watched Lu Zhou leave. At this moment, Ji Fengxing recalled Yu Shangrong and Yu Zhenghai's words again. He mumbled to himself, is he truly unparalleled? Ji Fengxing continued muttering to himself in the fair hall. He was oblivious to the emotional roller coaster ride that the monastery master, Xia Chengxiu, had gone through. Xia Chengxiu turned to look at Ji Fengxing, who was still mumbling, and cleared his throat before he called out, Fengxing. Monastery Master. Ji Fengxing started when he snapped back to his senses. What did you say? I was saying the old senior might be, truly unparalleled, Ji Fengxing answered honestly. Xia Chengxiu retorted, watch your tongue. There are many experts in this world. Who can be truly unparalleled? You're too young and know too little. You must remember there's bound to be someone greater and more powerful than we are. I will remember that. Ji Fengxing could not say anything to defend himself. After all, he was not very popular in the past. No one really trained him for many years. He was only accepted into the monastery because of Wu, who was from the same village as him. After entering the monastery, he became an outer disciple. He had dreamt about roaming the land with his sword and becoming an elite swordsman. He had no parents, so he counted himself lucky for being accepted into the Thousand Willow Monastery. If the monastery master, Xia Chengxiu, was willing to teach him, he was willing to listen. Xia Chengxiu looked at Ji Fengxing and said, how's your relationship with that old mister's disciples? We're friends. I guess. After saying this, Ji Fengxing's face flushed slightly red when recalled the difference between their cultivation bases. It seemed like he was being rather shameless. That will be all. Work hard in cultivating. If you have any questions, you can come to me, Xia Chengxiu said. Understood. Shortly after Ji Fengxing left, Tian Buji, who had led Lu Zhou and the others to their rooms, finally returned to Fair Hall. He saw Xia Chengxiu pacing around with a deep frown on his face. He stepped forward and asked, Monastery Master, you're unwilling to go to the 9th temple? Xia Chengxiu sat down and hit the chair's armrest before he said, do I have a choice? In my humble opinion, there should be no problem with this trip. Tian Buji glanced outside as he said, the old senior must be a 9-leaf cultivator. The kind that isn't ordinary. Xia Chengxiu looked at Tian Buji in confusion. Tian Buji said, Monastery Master, indeed, the 9th temple is a powerful force, but it's obvious the old mister isn't easy to deal with as well. Since Zhu Xian invited you Zhenghai to the 9th temple, this means the 9th temple has no intention of making more enemies. Moreover, it has been a millennium since Sikong Beichen last made an appearance. If I may be blunt, there's a chance Sikong Beichen might have gone on to the afterlife. Even if he's alive, how many years does he have left? If they had any brains, they wouldn't make more enemies. Instead, they'll try to entice people to their side. Xia Chengxiu grinned as he said, you're right, Elder Tian. 5 days from now, let's make a huge ceremony out of our visit to the 9th temple. We can use this opportunity to keep the Flying Star House in check as well. Send someone to clear the Flying Star House's flying chariot away. Understood. Inside the room, Lu Zhou was prepared to meditate on the heavenly writing scrolls. He had exhausted some of his power during his fight with Fei Hua. He would need some time to recuperate. Perhaps, it was due to improvement in his cultivation base, the impact of his extraordinary power did not seem as great as it was before. Or perhaps, it was because his opponents had gotten stronger. He thought about the armor. The starting point of the extraordinary power seemed to be the 9-leaf stage. It could activate the armor. Now that his opponent was already at the 9-leaf stage, would his extraordinary power rise again? To gain the power to hear everything so that we can hear voices in all realms at will. The heavenly writing scroll's power of listening. His extraordinary power flowed out and shrouded his surroundings. After his cultivation base improved, the power of listening's range had increased as well. Voices began to ring in his ears. That old man sure can put on a show. He does seem quite powerful. Even the monastery master has to show him respect. Tell me something I don't know. His disciple is a top-tier sword elite. He was capable of fighting Zhu Xian on equal footing. The old man can't be weak. He increased the extraordinary power, widening the range as well. That old mister has no eye for talent. To think he wanted to recruit that idiot Ji Fengxing. It's the first time someone overlooked Miss Wu. It's not that simple. Didn't you see the 2 young girls by his side? Those two girls followed him all the way here to the Red Lotus domain. Do you think they're useless? Wu is talented, but she's probably worth nothing compared to those two girls. You have a point. The blue radiance on Zhou's ears glowed brighter as he used up his remaining extraordinary power. Whiz. The range of the power of hearing instantly covered the entire Thousand Willow Monastery and spread for dozens of miles out. From some corner dozens of miles away from Thousand Willow Mountain, he heard a sneaky voice saying, "Don't spread this out. Go back and report this." He stopped using his power and opened his eyes. He walked to the window with his hands on his back and looked at the mountains at the back. The mountains were quiet. Apart from the flying beasts circling in the air, there was nothing else. A light breeze parted the clouds and the fog lingering around the forest. Zhou did not see anyone. He stroked his beard as he began to pace in the room. Someone's keeping an eye on the Thousand Willow Monastery? Compared to the Ninth Temple, the Sky Martial Court, and the Flying Star House, the Thousand Willow Monastery was extremely weak. Who would pay attention to a weak sect? Are they coming for me? Zhou had many trump cards he could use. He had 2 deadly strike cards, which meant that he could confidently face 2 10-leaf cultivators. However, the 5 first seats of the Ninth Temple were not weaklings. They were also veterans. Since he decided to go to the Ninth Temple, he had to prepare for the worst. Worst case scenario was if all the elites came at him at once. If his identity as a Golden Lotus cultivator was exposed, it was highly possible that the worst case scenario would happen. He opened the dashboard. Merit points, 16,540. Should I buy another one? I should be more prudent. It's not easy to earn merit points right now. The people here would not worship him if they saw a Golden Lotus. Lucky draw. Ding. Spent 50 merit points. Thank you for your participation. Luck, +1. Nice. Now I have 101 luck points. I have a feeling that I'm going to create a new record. For a former European emperor, this is an insult. Lucky draw. Ding. Spent 50 merit points and 102 luck points. Obtained impeccable card X2, calm disturbance. Zhou felt this was a worthwhile draw with just the 2 impeccable cards alone. If he had purchased them, it would have cost him 15,000 merit points each. It was as despicable as a blood-sucking vampire. Zhou muttered, "Why does this lousy system need that many merit points?" After complaining, he focused on the new item card, Calm Disturbance. Calm Disturbance? Calm Disturbance contains a possibility of gaining a new sword path. Zhou looked at the description. Without much thought, he said, "Use." The Calm Disturbance item card shattered. It dissolved into specks of starlight and swirled around him. When they subsided, he flexed his limbs. There were no changes, he did not feel different. Well, it says there's only a possibility of gaining a new sword path. So does this mean I failed? Fortunately, I got the impeccable cards. Otherwise, this would have been a loss. Shortly after, Zhou returned to his position and resumed meditating on the heavenly writing scrolls. If there were no accidents, he would be able to completely replenish his extraordinary power in 5 days. Meanwhile, in Jiannan Circuit where the Ninth Temple was located. On a balcony. Zhu Xian pointed at the main hall that overlooked the city and asked, "Sir, is everything to your liking here?" Zhenghai had been treated well since his arrival. His meals and accommodation were taken care of. Apart from being escorted when he went out, he lived like everyone else here. Zhenghai walked up to Zhu Xian. With his hands on his back, he looked down and said, "If you're sincere in seeking a collaboration, you should also invite the other first seats to meet me. Otherwise, I'd feel ashamed of myself for living off you without giving anything in return." Ever since he arrived at the Ninth Temple, Zhenghai had never met any one of the rumored 5 first seats. Zhu Xian smiled and said, "The Ninth Temple isn't lacking in funds. You can spend it however you like. Since I invited you here, it's only natural that I'm sincere about working with you, sir." The first seats of the ninth temple are of high standing, and they aren't individuals whom you can meet on a whim. The Mystery Hall's first seat has just recently emerged from his cultivation in seclusion. I've already reported this to the higher-ups. First seat Zhang said we can collaborate, but it has to be sincere. Zhenghai repeated the word, sincere? You're from the Golden Lotus domain, after all. If the Sky Martial Court and the palace find out about this, the Ninth Temple would be caught in a difficult situation. Hence, the Ninth Temple wants to understand more about you and your sect. We need to know more about the Golden Lotus domain, Zhu Xian said. Zhenghai was not surprised that the Ninth Temple wanted to find out more information. After being in charge of the Nether Sect for so many years, how could he not see this coming? What if I refuse? You will tell me, sir. It's getting late. You should get some rest. I'll visit you again in a month. Zhu Xian turned around and left. 1 month. Zhenghai did not turn around. Instead, he remained on the balcony and looked down at the Ninth Temple.